Thank you for joining me for today's presentation. My name is Rolly Perot, and I'm presenting a new business development proposal for adding project portfolio management to your consulting company services. The reason for my presentation is that after 19 years of working as an independent consultant, I've come to the realization I cannot grow my business any further without hiring full-time sales and support staff. And while it's been great being independent for so long, at this time in my life I'm looking to follow my true passion of delivering complete business solutions that help solve customer problems. I'm looking for a leadership position with a consulting firm that's interested in adding Microsoft PPM service to their services portfolio. I thought I would do something different and create a PPM presentation to report on my research findings, market analysis, and show the cross-market sales opportunities with your current service lines. In the end, I'm essentially making a business case to add PPM to your consulting firm. So without further ado, let's get to it. On today's agenda, I'll start with a little background information on PPM and how Microsoft PPM works. Then I'll present my research findings and market analysis. Then I'll get into more details about how adding PPM can add value to your current services that you might already offer. I'll discuss 7 different service scenarios where PPM and your current services can generate additional business and/or revenues. Then I'll discuss the competition. First, the competition between the PPM software vendors, and then the competition between the Microsoft Gold PPM partners in the United States and in Canada. Afterwards, I'll briefly touch on what I can specifically do for your business. I'll offer my professional bio by giving you a summary of my background, and finally my contact information, giving you my email and the URL to my LinkedIn profile for more information. So what is project portfolio management, or what is commonly referred to as PPM? PPM is the continuous process of identifying, selecting, and managing a portfolio of projects in alignment with key performance metrics and strategic business objectives. But if you go deeper, PPM can mean a lot different things to different people. For executives, PPM can mean aligning projects and portfolio with business objectives. For managers, be it project managers or resource managers, PPM means visibility and control of projects, resources, tasks, finances, risk, etc. For project teams or workers, PPM can mean work and/or time reporting and collaboration. But it is a combination of these 3 different groups that when combined forms a solid foundation for a PPM solution. Who participates in PPM? As mentioned in the previous slides, we're looking at 3 groups, and each group has a set of specific responsibilities. Executives are responsible for setting strategies and directing the organization to meet its objectives. Managers are responsible for planning and execution of projects, programs, and resources. And finally, the people on the project teams are assigned to a project to perform tasks and produce deliverables. These people can be anybody, an employee, a contractor, and an agency, anybody that can be assigned to a task or also as a stakeholder in the project or program, and they are required to collaborate on their work and deliverables. During my research, I found a mid-market PPM report written by Infotech Research Group. They conducted a survey directed at mid-market customers, and one of the questions asked was, how are you managing your projects now? And the results were very interesting. 37% said they used Excel spreadsheets, which I assume would be considered more of a manual system. And that would include using notepads, yellow sticky notes, or even paper napkins. I've seen companies use these techniques, and they do all work, especially in the planning stages, but are not really the most efficient means of managing projects. 30% said they use an internal solution, such as a Microsoft Access database or a SharePoint list. 13% said they used on-premises PPM solutions such as Project and Project Server. 3% said they use software as a service PPM solution such as BMO, EPM Live, or Project Online. And finally, what I thought was a bit shocking was that 17% do not formally manage their projects at all. That means that there's 84% of mid-market customers do not use a PPM solution to manage their projects. This alone presents a huge business opportunity. Now, Microsoft PPM software has two offerings. First, Microsoft Project Server, which is an on-premises solution and is deployed with SharePoint Server Enterprise Edition. And second, Project Online, which is Microsoft's cloud or software as a service solution that is delivered through Office 365 and requires SharePoint Online. They both offer essentially the same features. The only real difference is one is accessed on premises and the other is accessed through the internet. So how does the Microsoft PPM solution work? Let's first take a look at the work management function. It first starts with executives needing insight. They need the ability to track the entire project lifecycle and also need full visibility for all projects, programs, and portfolios. Next, the team members need to get a clear view of the tasks, issues, and deliverables that are assigned to them. Plus, they need to be able to easily update their tasks and provide status updates. Lastly, project managers need the tools that give them the ability to control their projects so they can proactively manage scope, risk, quality, cost, and schedules. They also need to control communications from receiving status updates and timesheets from team members to also briefing executives and keeping them in the loop. Next, let's look at resource management function. Again, it starts with executives needing to track actual costs versus budget that will give them a better understanding of the project finances. They also need to understand resource constraints and limitations that can affect a project's success or failure. Next, resource managers need to quickly allocate resources that are based on skills and their availability. Now, those skills are defined in a custom enterprise resource field that in turn creates a custom resource skills inventory that resource managers can quickly query. Next, project managers need to accelerate their cross-project analysis of schedules, resources, and finances. This can be achieved quickly using the centralized resource repository that allows for quick retrieval and analysis of resource data. With executive portfolio optimization function, executives need to be able to identify and capture demand for new projects in a customized workflow and in a business case. Executives also need to choose the right projects that align with the defined business strategies. As part of the selection process, they'll need to prioritize competing investments. And finally, executives need to manage their portfolios and determine the optimal portfolio mix within budget and business constraints. This is achieved by measuring and tracking portfolio performance once the investments have been identified. With the team collaboration function, we start with the team needing the ability to store and manage project documents with metadata, using workflows, check in, check out, and document versioning. Then the team shares documents via central repository and also synchronizes calendars, stay up to date with team events, and assign tasks. And lastly, the team can track and collaborate through project sites that are created for each project. They will also be able to access project information either through the cloud or on premises. Let's get into the market analysis. In a recent IDC Market Scope report, it was reported that the demand for IT PPM application hasn't wavered in more than 13 years, but rather increased exponentially over the past 10 years. I can tell you from my own personal experience that the maturity and demand for Microsoft PPM software has significantly increased since I started in PPM back in 2002. Another report from IDC in October 2012 estimated that the 2012 compound annual growth rate is 3%. And that estimate was made during the worldwide economic slowdown, so I would project that this number should be much higher today. In other IDC reports, in 2012, the worldwide growth of the PPM market grew to 5.4% with a value of $3.6 billion. In a recent 5-year forecast period, IDC estimates the PPM market will reach $5.3 billion by 2017 with a growth rate of 7.7%. A Forrester Research Wave report in the fourth quarter of 2012 places Microsoft firmly in the leaders quadrant for the PPM software market. Now, I came across a very interesting research paper from IDC Energy Insights that offered their insight into the PPM market specifically for the oil and gas industry. This industry creates a lot of major capital projects, and understanding where future capital expenditures are going can offer a glimpse into the PPM market potential for oil and gas. So when capital expenditures increased 14% in 2011 and an expected increase of 13% in 2012, and remember that's during the economic downturn, that tells me that this is a very, very strong industry with an opportunity for growth in the PPM market. The report further stated that the PPM IT share is only around 1% of total IT spending. However, its potential impact on business performance is substantial. In the same report, IDC views Microsoft as a leader in the PPM software space and is expected to grow faster than the overall market. In this section, I'll discuss about how adding PPM service can add value and potentially generate additional business and/or revenue for other services you may already provide to your customers. In the application development space, there's an opportunity to integrate the ALM tool, Microsoft Team Foundation Server, with Project Server. This allows developers to continue using their tool of choice to manage their software development projects, but it also allows the executives to gain insight and visibility of their dev projects by using Project Server. This is achieved by sharing and synchronizing project data between the two systems. Another opportunity is to create custom connectors from a customer's third-party line of business application to Project Server. I also see a potential in developing a mobile device application specifically for Project Server. Looking to develop a universal Windows app that targets Windows and Windows Phone devices. In the collaboration space, there's a huge opportunity for integration work. This is primarily due that SharePoint Server is a requirement for Project Server. Some of the integration work could include customization of project sites, risks, issues, deliverables, and workflows. Also, custom development work with business connectivity services, also in terms of Excel services, performance point. And based on my own personal experience, there's just a natural progression for customers that already have SharePoint Server deployed to explore the possibility of also deploying Project Server. In my opinion, there's no limits when it comes to additional work with SharePoint and Project Server together. In the customer relationship management space, there's an opportunity to create custom CRM workflows to automate Project Server processes. For example, you could create a workflow in CRM that triggers Project Server to create a project when a CRM opportunity is reached, let's say something like 80%. Or you can import your CRM marketing campaign data into Project Server and then use the portfolio analysis engine to choose which initiatives best align with the campaign objectives and strategies. In the data and analytics space, there's another huge opportunity for customizing the Project Server Business Intelligence Center. The BI Center is a place to store and share reports for executives, portfolio managers, and business analysts. This group of people desire any and all reports that will make their job easier when making business decisions. So if your company has experience with SQL Server reporting services, Excel services, Performance Point, Power Pivot, or creating custom dashboards, then you are in a great position to generate additional business and/or revenue. The ER space is also a great opportunity to integrate with Project Server. Integrating with Microsoft Dynamics AX gives your customer the ability to automatically derive financial cost and revenue estimates in AX through the deployment of a synchronization service that joins both systems. There's also an opportunity to integrate with SAP or with any other ERP system. Essentially, you will be pulling data from these ERP systems into Project Server to be able to report and manage on project actuals, resource capacity, and demand that's already generated from the ERP systems. The infrastructure services space is pretty straightforward. Adding Project Server to your infrastructure services solution gives your customer the flexibility they need in managing their projects. The process would be very similar to SharePoint Server, and it doesn't matter whether the solution is a self-service on premises, hosted, cloud, or managed service solution, it all works the same way. The managed services space also offers a couple of opportunities to generate additional income. By adding Project Web App into your AMS solutions, this again gives your customer the flexibility that they're looking for when they're managing projects. If you also provide infrastructure managed services, you could also include Project Server Private Cloud Managed Service, or you could also integrate the IMS of Project Server with the IMS of something like Unified Communications and Collaboration Solution. Now let's talk about the competition. First up are the PPM software competitors. And with the main competitor being Oracle and their multitude of PPM software products like Primavera, Instantis, Fusion, JD Edwards, and PeopleSoft. Next is CA Technologies' product called Clarity PPM. Then HP's product is called PPM Center. And PlanView is another strong PPM software company with products like PlanView Enterprise and Project Place. They're all strong competitors, but in my opinion, Microsoft has a significant strategic advantage over the rest of them, and that's because their software products integrate with each other in some form or fashion. They just all work together seamlessly, and that's something that customers really like. Here's the numbers for the PPM software vendors. As you can see from the 2013 Gartner report, Oracle has invested heavily in their PPM software portfolio, which has given them a significant boost in the worldwide PPM market share to 23% in 2012. Microsoft increased their market share to 15%, a gain of 5% from the previous year. CA Technologies also increased their market share to 10%, a gain of 3% from the previous year. However, PlanView and HP both lost market shares, dropping to 6 and 4% respectively. However, it should be noted that all PPM software vendors did increase their revenue from the previous year. At the time of this recording, there were 22 gold PPM partners in the US market, and most of whom specialize only in project portfolio management space. I believe that this presents an opportunity for other Microsoft Gold partners to expand their service lines to include Microsoft PPM competency as part of their offerings, especially partners who have currently collaboration and content, business intelligence, and ERP competencies, as they are a natural fit with PPM. At the time of this recording, there are only 4 gold PPM partners in the Canadian market. And again, most of them specialize only in project portfolio management. Most of the current PPM work in the Canadian market can be found in Western Canada, specifically in BC and Alberta. Although Saskatchewan is generating a lot more interest with the recent boom of natural resources development. Eastern Canada is slowly regaining interest back in PPM. But in my opinion, Microsoft Gold partners that have a presence in Western Canada should investigate expanding their service line to include Microsoft PPM competency as part of their offerings. Again, partners that are currently have the collaboration and content, business intelligence, and ERP competencies are a natural fit with PPM. Here's my PPM strategy for adding PPM to your service line. In the beginning, you'll need a person that can provide all the pre-sale support for your business development groups and sales and marketing teams. They must also be able to architect and deploy complete PPM and business solutions right away, as there's no time to waste. But more importantly, they must be ready to do it all, especially during the initial growing stage. I would recommend by the end of year one, they would be responsible for expanding the service line by creating and training a PPM deployment readiness team. Here's what I can do for you. I can develop your PPM practice, and I'll do this by working with your firm's current consulting framework to ensure a smooth and quick transition to the new practice. Then I'll train all your teams on all aspects of Microsoft PPM solutions. Everything from target marketing with sales and marketing teams to teaching the best practices of deploying Project Server to the consultants and analysts. Then I'll assist your business development team in securing new PPM business. And finally, I'll work with your other service practices to leverage additional business revenue through cross-market selling and ensure the entire company wins. Here's a brief summary of my business experience. I have over 28 years of hands-on business experience, with the last 19 years as an independent contractor working worldwide. I specifically have real-world executive and managerial experience in IT for 28 years, project management for 11 years, finance and administration for 8 years, and manufacturing and production for 3 years. In my education background, I've been certified as a project management professional from PMI since 2005. I have a diploma in business administration from Red River College, and I have completed the 4th level of the Certified Management Accountant program at the University of Manitoba. I hold many Microsoft certifications since I first started back in 1996. Here's just a few of them. I also hold other vendor certifications. Back in the day, I was a Compaq accredited systems engineer and also an IBM professional server expert. I'm also a Checkpoint certified security administrator and certified CompTIA Network Plus. I've also authored several books on Project Server, Microsoft Small Business Server, and also Windows Server 2000. Here's a list of speaking engagements that I've done in the last 3 years. As you can tell by the list of locations, I don't have a problem with traveling. And finally, here's my contact information and the URL to my LinkedIn profile. I want to thank you for taking the time to listen and view my presentation. I hope you've gained some new knowledge and insight on project portfolio management, and that I had a chance to demystify some of the concepts of PPM for you. If you're interested in adding PPM service to your organization's future business goals and strategies, please reach out to me via email or LinkedIn. I'd love to start a conversation with you. Take care and hope to hear from you soon. Cheers.